Having successfully passed many stages of life, how and why do we end up so stuck and incapable of change? If you think about change, the reason why we fail at change, including you and I, if we're talking about big changes, is because the very nature of change, write this down, change is literally life-threatening. Now, why is change life-threatening? Because right now, you are energetically, now this comes from a primal perspective and primal conditioning. And remember, the many anxieties and fears we have, it doesn't make sense in this modern world, but we still have it because of our ancestors. How many don't want to talk about it? So say yes. Now, back in the cavewoman, caveman era, what did every single human being have? We had a herd. And this is why still to this day, we act like herd animals. And this is why you've got this very deep need and desire to always feel like you are accepted by others. And you try your absolute best to people please because you're really afraid of letting someone else down. How many know what I'm talking about? So say yes. So right now you'll notice who you are, the version of yourself that you are currently energetically connected to, if these are your friends, you're energetically connected to your friends right now. Is that making sense, by the way? If so, say yes. So energetically, your current level of behaviors and thought processes is all connected right now. Following so far, so say yes. Now, what happens if you begin to change? Because by the nature of change, it means to evolve. What happens if all of a sudden you go from this level to now this level? Well, all of a sudden, what's happening is energetically is now broken. Now, back in the cavewoman, caveman era, what would have happened if you would have now began to break connections? That meant you had to fend for yourself. That meant inevitable death. And so if you've ever wondered why most people struggled to quit drugs, which used to be me in the past, is because deep down, my peers were drug addicts. Deep down, I didn't want to be let down or feel like I'm losing them. How many know what I'm talking about? It's a very subconscious, unconscious pattern. Now, at the same time, why we struggle to change is because when we break those connections, these people, the family, friends, the people, the so-called people who meant to care for you, begin to question you. They don't try to support you in transcending. They say, are you sure it really works? I mean, notice this should be true. Right? They begin to say, are you sure you're not spending too much money? Are you sure it's not going to be something where you're going to be regretting it one day? Have you even noticed most people are more happy to see you settle versus transcend your limits? Now, it's not their fault. It's a very primal programming. So it's about us realizing why change is so hard is by the very nature of change is life-threatening for the unconscious mind. But the process of change is instant and immediate and easy. Now, what do I really mean? Well, the actual process of change, if you really think about it, what's change? Change, remember this, write this down, is simply not repeating the same old choices you made the day before. That's all change is. How many choices does a human being make consciously, unconsciously every single day? 35,000 choices, neuroscientists say we're making every single day. 35,000 choices. Cornell University studies have shown we make 226 choices on what to eat throughout the day. This is all happening beneath your awareness. True, by the way. So your life, if we think about it, our life, there's no denying. Our life, the results you see, is all a mirror reflection of the choices you made. Because everything you've said yes to and no to has led you to these results. True. So that means to change these results, we must firstly acknowledge that results do not lie. Results, the things you see in your external environment, is proof you're making choices. And if you're thinking, Tim, I don't make choices, well, that is a choice, okay? Doing nothing is still doing something. I mean, what I'm talking about. Indecision is a decision. Or what form of decision? Are you getting this? So it's about us thinking, where is lack then? Where is scarcity for you? Which pillar of your life, health, wealth, or relationships, are you seeing the most suffering? Because that's clearly showing you where you most got to wake up to transcend the choices you've been making day before. All change really is simply, is not repeating the same old choices you did the day before. Now, this is all easier said than done since there are a lot of protective mechanisms involved with you ensuring you keep on doing the same thing you did the day before. And how many notice how true this really is? How many of you have ever woke up before and you realize, wow, I'm brushing my teeth, my body's moving automatically? How many of you have ever been in a grocery store before and it isn't until somebody bumps your shopping cart, you wake up, you're like, oh, I'm in a grocery store. I mean, what I'm talking about, right? You realize so much of your life is all asleep, awake, sleeping awake. It's all done in this unconscious state, this trance. And so you'll notice because we're in this trance, we're asleep, essentially, we end up prioritizing the process over the outcome. If I was to ask you, why do you do the things you do every day? You say it's because that's just the way I've always done it. But by that very definition, it means you're trapped in the past. And you cannot create a new future if you're trapped in the past. How many of you are getting this? If to say yes. To make a change, it means to make a new choice today. That's drastically different from yesterday. So how do you know if you're making a new choice today? Well, it makes your freaking palms sweat. It makes you skeptical. What's skepticism? Skepticism. Am I doing the right thing? Skepticism, fear. Yes, it's a survival protective mechanism. Are you getting this? What are you fearful of? Well, you're fear of let down. And where does that come from? It's the fact that in the past, you've tried something, you've been let down, and now you've got this fear that maybe you shouldn't even try anymore. So it's a very dangerous fear because if you follow that, by that very definition, you will die having never changed. Who need to hear this today? If so, say yes. So the question you've got to ask yourself to ensure you just make a little change today, a little change. What's a new choice that you can make right now that indicates you're moving forward towards the right direction? How about that? Let's start small. Small hinges open big doors for you. Sure. Maybe for some of you, it's kind of like even showing up this Q&A was a one choice forwards in the right direction. So it's about us realizing that the very nature of change, in a lot of ways, if you're going to make a new choice, is not going to feel comfortable. And sometimes it's going to invite what I like to call a shock response. And it's important that we realize, how many of you have ever had a cold shower before? Like a really cold shower. Really cold shower. Rebecca says I did today. What happens when all of a sudden you go from hot water to cold? You feel the shock response. Yeah, it's so cold. Yes or no, by the way. So that, you'll notice, is what happens anytime your mind is looking to change something. Because how many of you notice anytime you really want to do something new, you feel that same amount of shock response? And that's because your body is shifting out of its homeostasis, right? It's getting out of the normal day-to-day biology. Are you getting this? That means it's not a bad thing. A shock response is a great thing that you're actually doing something new. It means you're actually changing something. Sure. So this is why I always like to say, do something every day, making your palms sweat. That's in the right direction towards growth. It's not going to feel comfortable, but it's definitely going to lead to growth. And last time I checked, we're not here to feel good. We're here to be free.